with what categories of special needs live around us within our church community, and then we start seeing how we can bring them to church. Because if they are not in the church and Jesus comes, their condition is not going to be changed. And so this is a major challenge that we have, that we should bring them to church, bring them to Christ, so that when Jesus comes, their condition is going to be changed. I like this verse again, Romans chapter 10, verse 13 up to 15. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So they have to reach a level where they can call on the name of the Lord. They have to believe in him and accept him as their personal savior. Then there are questions. How then will they call on him whom they have not believed? And how are they going to believe in whom they have never heard? So we have to go and share the gospel with them so that they may hear. Even when we are sent out to preach the everlasting gospel, according to the book of Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, we are told to go and preach the gospel so that it can be a witness, so that nobody would have said, I've never heard about the Sabbath truth, where people go when they die, what happens and all that. And so there are so many people who have never heard because we have never reached out to them. Sometimes we think that they cannot be saved. Sometimes we feel that they cannot be saved, and so we neglect them. But we should know all of them are candidates of the heavenly kingdom. We should know that all of them are candidates of the heavenly kingdom. There we have the logo of our Event Responsibility Ministry. That's the logo. You can see it from that picture there. That's a picture of a church building. Picture of a church building that is built with the blocks. At least there are 4 blocks building that church. 4 blocks. If you take away any of the blocks, can that church stand? Take away any of them. Try to figure out in your mind. If you take away any of those blocks which are shown there, take away one of them, you find that church cannot stand. And those blocks represent different categories of people in our churches or in our communities. In our communities, different categories of people who are supposed to be in the church. And one category are people who have special needs. Those who cannot see, those who cannot hear, those who cannot walk, and even those who cannot talk. You take away, you have a church without the deaf. You have the church without the blind. You have the church without those who cannot walk. We say that church is not complete. That church is lacking something. It's not complete, as we are going to see as we move on. Now that's an explanation of the puzzle that we have seen there, the meaning. There's a cross, there's a church, there's a puzzle, and there's a motto. The motto shows that all are not only included, but belong. For each is gifted, needed, and treasured. And so, wote wanapasa kuitwa na waingie katika kanisa la Mungu na wajisikie wako nyumbani. Ikiwa ni mtu aoni akija kanisani, anisikie anahitajika, juko katika nyumba ya Mungu. Kuna theme song ya watu wenye mahitaji maalum. We have that theme song there. Just is adopted from a special group from Uganda. It's adopted for the World Church. Lakini chanzo chake ni kwaya ya watoto Uganda, inaitwa Watoto. That's the title. Na kanisa la Kiadventista walipoisikia wakasema hiyo wimbo ina maana sana. So wakasema that would be the theme song of the people with special needs. That's a theme song. Let me see if we can play it a bit. Tunaongeza volume namna gani hapa? Volume. I think you can see the words of the song. Madam, there is no volume up, huh? But the title is Not Alone. They are not alone. They should not feel that they are alone. And we should not make them feel that they are alone. Through all my tears, you see my fears, I'm not alone. If the trials come and my worries seem to be too much to bear, Lord, you lift me up and hold me. Song, if there was sound here, you could hear the song being sung. That's the logo for the deaf. The deaf, yes, we say they have special needs, but they have also some special place because they have their own logo there, and they have their culture, they have their language, and sometimes when you say they are disabled or they have special needs, they say for us, we are just different. We have our culture, we have our language, and so some of them may not accept that they are part of the people with special needs. And so we have their logo, as you can see it, with outstretched hands, the Bible, the cross. There's a message down there. And each one of those parts is explained by what we are seeing there. The Bible, the Word of God, is the foundation of their faith. They should be led to know that. The cross, Jesus, the center of our faith. The hands outstretched to heaven, our longing for the return of Jesus when our condition is going to be changed. The open hands to receive Jesus as our personal Savior. Then the message, which is our sense of certainty in God's prophetic word. I think those are the manual alphabet for the deaf, A, B, C, D, E, F, up to Z. The way we say them, alphabets, the letters of alphabet, as you can see there. Then we are now under what's there written as number 1, so that we can move as fast as we can, so that we can go to the groups. Now this one is trying to explain Adventist Possibility Ministry, previously Special Needs Ministry. This is taken from a letter which was written to all the unions by the leader of the General Conference, Pastor Larry Evans of Special Needs. He's the one who wrote this letter, and is explaining why Adventist Possibility Ministry. Why should we have the Adventist Possibility Ministry? He's saying Adventist Possibility Ministries is a life-changing ministry whose time has come. And we spend a little time to elaborate on what it means when something, yes, time for something comes. Nobody can stop it. Nobody can stop it. It's also adding that is sometimes referred to as special needs. And this is a term which we are using, and we have been using, and we are continue to use interchangeably. If you hear somebody speaking about special needs, don't feel it's out of place or outdated because we are using Adventist Possibility Ministry. We are using those two terms interchangeably. You can say Adventist Possibility Ministry or Adventist or Special Needs Ministry. That's why he has said it is sometimes referred to as Special Needs Ministries. If you are referring to somebody and you are talking of that person as having, you can easily say this person as a special need. But if you try to say this person as a possibility, you may not be able to differentiate between him and the one who cannot see, because we all have possibilities, but at different levels. There you have to struggle quite a lot to explain. But you can easily say this person has a special need, and you can now explain what the special need is. This person has a possibility, You can also try to explain, but what fits very directly is special needs. The motto of this ministry states clearly an underlying principle on which its existence is based. All are gifted, needed, and treasured. That's the motto of this ministry. All are gifted, needed, and treasured. We are highlighting them there and requesting you to underline, because those are key areas in our training, in your paper, because the wording is just the same, or the wording is the same, where it's written, all are gifted, needed, and treasured, and highlighted there. Highlight it also in your paper because of the importance which it has. We are told APM is about caring and inclusiveness. So those who have been elected as leaders in this department know that you are being elected because people saw that you are a caring person. People cannot neglect any person because of their physical or mental condition. And so APM is about caring and inclusiveness, ensuring everybody in the church is included in church programs, church elections. Those who are fit to lead, they are given those responsibilities. We say it involves education and acceptance for everyone and the development of plans that will help to bring about opportunities for involvement and a sense of belonging for special needs persons. And so we say it is a ministry that calls all to a life of service. Underline that word all, because it's not only those who can see can serve God. Even the blind can, the deaf can, those who cannot walk, they can also serve God. If we realize their potential and then we empower them, you can see how much they have done. We have said, especially the ministry of the deaf has spread so fast because we empowered just a few of them, and they are the ones who are reaching out and bringing more, opening work in different churches, and even challenging us that they want to receive the gospel, and so they demand that they be given interpreters, and interpreters be trained. Some of them have been empowered so much that they can even teach themselves, conduct Bible study, and have their own choir because of the empowerment which they have received. And so we want to empower these other special needs groups as well, so that they can also be able to serve God as expected. Number 2 there is, what is a special need? We are trying to explain. Now, we have talked, and then this possibility ministry and special needs ministry are used interchangeably. When we talk of a special need, what do we mean? A special need is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, which includes breathing. If you have limitation in your breathing, ukitembea kidogo tu kamlima kidogo unaanza kuhema, ama unasema you are losing your breath, unasikia you are losing your breath, you cannot walk the way other people can walk. Even walking, you cannot walk. If you try to walk a bit, then you feel you are losing breath. You do something, you are losing breath. Then we say you are in that group of special needs, which will need special care and special treatment. If you cannot communicate the way I'm communicating, using my voice verbally, if I cannot communicate and somebody cannot hear what I say, then no, that's a special need. People cannot hear, that's a special need. They cannot learn normally the way the other people learn. They cannot learn the way the other people learn. No, that is also a special need. There are children, when you take them to school, They can spend 4 years even without knowing how to memorize A, B, C, D, F. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They cannot do that for quite a long time. When other children within 3 months, they have already known their alphabet, they can count 1 to 10. But this child cannot learn normally. If they cannot do manual tasks, they cannot see, they cannot walk, or they cannot work. They cannot do all those things. Then we say those have special needs. We go to number 3 there. Number 3 there is Christ and special needs. It's also number 3 in your papers there. Christ and special needs. And here we are challenged to try to find out from the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the number of miracles which Jesus did. And if you count them, you find they are 35. 35 miracles which Jesus performed. We are told out of those 35 miracles of Jesus, 27 of them touched on people with special needs. 27 of them touched on people with special needs, which means Jesus spent a lot of time dealing with people with special needs. Only 8 of them were touching on people who did not have special needs, but 27 special needs. So he put a lot of value to the people with special needs. And here we are told he healed a boy who was unable to speak, a man who was paralyzed, and a deaf person. He did all that. And here we are told that we say Jesus is our example. Jesus is our example. And we know the amount of time he spent with his persons with special needs. And then you can compare that with the amount of time we, as church members, church leaders, church pastors, the amount of time we are spending with those persons with special needs. We are told that Jesus gives a clear evidence and support that the worldwide church is to be involved in special needs. And we say, just compare that with the amount of time is spent in dealing with special needs. If you check there are pages which are stated, Special Needs Ministry, page 9. Special Needs Ministry, page 9. That's referring to a book. I think we should be having some copies of that booklet. We have had this booklet for quite a long time, and we keep on updating it. We keep on updating it. The last update or edition was done last week, which included in the last pages the quotation from the Expected Church Manual. If you go to page 143, yes, from page 143 to page 145 is the quotation in the church manual about Adventist Possibility Ministry. Adventist Possibility Ministries Church Manual Edition, which was recommended, and it has been voted now last year as a part of the church manual. That quotation is there, and is stating what this special needs ministry is, and the people who are supposed to be leaders in our local churches, how they are supposed to be identified, their qualification is written there, and Adventist Possibility leaders. It's recommended that the board appoint, that the election board or the nominating committee, a local possibility ministries leader, while it's preferable for the leader to have direct experience or education with the possibility ministries, it's not mandatory. Yeah, I think we'll explain that as we wind up. So that reference is referring to some pages in this book. The pages may not correspond now because of the adjustments which we have done in the book, and we have not done those adjustments in the notes. So if you may go to page 9 and you don't find this title there, just look at the title in the table of contents and you'll get that statement. We are told, yeah, that's Christ and special needs, what he did, the amount of time he spent. In describing his earthly mission, Jesus said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me," and it continues, "He has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor." That's Jesus himself speaking. "He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty those who are oppressed." Jesus is saying he came for that mission, specifically to those who are disadvantaged, those who have special needs. He said he came for that purpose. And so if Jesus came for that purpose, as outlined here, it should be the same purpose for which each church exists. We go to number 5, according to your notes again. Number 5, and then this possibility, and number 5 is different now. I think there's some difference there now. The numbering is different now. Number 3 is Christ and special needs. Number 4, I think number 4 is skipped. According to the slides, number 4 is not showing, but now it's going to number 5, which there is number 4. I think there's some difference there. So just look at the title now. Special needs in the spirit of prophecy. We have checked on Christ and special needs. Then number 5, special needs in the spirit of prophecy. And there you go to the book, Testimonies for the Church, page 511. Ellen G. White has spoken quite a lot on persons with special needs. But this is the most outstanding quotation of Ellen G. White about persons, sort of people with special needs. She says, "I saw that it is in the providence of God that widows, orphans, the blind, the deaf, the lame, and the persons afflicted in a variety of ways have been placed in close Christian relationship to his church." You can try to imagine, you have the church here, this Migori Central Church. But around Migori Central Church, there are so many orphans, so many widows, so many people are blind, so many people are deaf, and so many people who cannot walk. He said he placed those people very close to the church, and that was his plan. That where the church is, those people should be there also. And where the church members are, as we move out of our homes, going to church or going to our places of work, he placed them, some of them in the streets, others in the neighborhood, and we know some of them are locked in. They have to be washed, they have to be fed, they have to be taken to the toilet. And we know in that family there is a person who is physically or mentally challenged, somebody who cannot do anything for themselves. There was a purpose why that person has been placed near our church member, near the pastor, near the church elder. And see what Ellen G. White is saying down there. He's saying, angels of God are watching, and they are taking records. They are watching, and they are taking records on how, just let me read. Angels of God are watching to see how we treat these persons who need our sympathy, love, and disinterested benevolence. they are taking record daily. That person is there in the neighborhood. That person is there on the streets. And so every morning as we pass by them, sometimes we speak good words of encouragement to them. The angels of God record. So and so today has greeted that person, has encouraged that person, has given that person hope. And if they have another physical need, they have even assisted them with something to eat. Remember Matthew 25, the separation of the sheep and the goats. I was in prison, you visited me. I was angry, you fed me. And then we started wondering, when did we see you angry and naked and thirsty, and we gave you something? Then he says, what you did to one of these little ones of mine, you did it to me. And so whatever we do to people with special needs, we are doing it to Jesus. We are doing it to Jesus. See the next statement, underlined, and underline it in all the colors. He's saying this is God's test of our character. If you want to know a true Christian or a true Seventh-day Adventist church member, a true church elder, just see how they treat these people with special needs. You don't even need to be told. Just look at the way they treat them, the way they speak to them, and the way they assist or they do not assist them. That is a test. Those people you see around us, around our church members, God has placed them there purposely to test our Christianity, to test our faith. Let's go to the next part. It says, if we have the true religion of the Bible, and if there are people who claim to have the true religion of the Bible, they are the Seventh-day Adventist church members, because we keep the Sabbath, we return tithe, we know the state of the dead, and we have read the prophecies about the beast and the image of the beast. All that we have. But here we are being told that we may keep the Sabbath and return tithe and also preach about the beast and tell people to run away from the beast. And yet we are avoiding and leaving people who we are supposed to be assisting. We are told if we have the true religion in the Bible, we shall feel that debt of love, kindness, and interest is due to Christ in behalf of his brethren, and we can do no less than to show our gratitude for his immeasurable love to us while we were yet sinners. And he explains down there. We need to be more practical in our religion and start moving out and reaching out to persons who have special needs. The Bible gives a lot of emphasis to those persons, and the spirit of prophecy gives a lot of emphasis and focus to those persons. We are moving to number 6. And then this possibility ministry mission statement. That's number 6 according to the slides. And according to the notes, that's number 5. And then this possibility ministry mission statement. The mission statement of this ministry is the same as the mission statement of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And that's making disciples. Here is speaking about proclaiming to all the people the everlasting gospel in the context of the 3 angels' messages of Revelation 14, verse 6 to 12, where we are sent out to reach to all the people, all the nations, all the languages. Yeah, we are sent out to all the people without discrimination. And so, and then this possibility ministry 6, to inspire, equip, and mobilize those who are differently abled to serve God in the community as expressed in the mission statement of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Underline those words. our mission is, number one, to inspire. Many of those people are discouraged. They are stigmatized. People are speaking ill about them. They don't love them. They don't assist them. They don't bring them to church. And so we have to inspire them, show them that there is hope. Their condition is not permanent. When Jesus comes, their status is going to be changed. And let me tell you, many of them do not need many verses. They just need this verse in Isaiah, which tells them, despite your condition, when Jesus comes, your condition is going to be changed. And very many of them who have heard this message, giving them hope, when they stepped in the church, whether you are discriminated or not, they said, me, I'm looking for the second coming of Jesus, and so that my status can be changed. And whatever comes in between, sometimes they ignore because they know their focus should be Jesus. And so we have to present Jesus to them, who is able to change their condition. But in addition to that, there is what we call Christ's method, where he made good with the people, he showed sympathy, and he also assisted them before he even could bid them to follow him. You know, others we can say, yeah, and we are fond of saying, yes, we are praying for you, we are praying for you. But Jesus wants us to do more than prayer. He needs us to help them physically. He needs to help them physically and also bring them to church. But don't rush. Just to tell them, come to Jesus, follow Jesus. First, see what their needs are. That's what Jesus did. Mingling with them, identifying their needs, and then helping them before he can bring them, bid them to follow Jesus. And that's a mission which we have as a church. So we should inspire them. We should equip them. We have seen so many of them who have been equipped. People without hands. But people have invested on them and they have changed their status. Some of them even who have been considering suicide, killing themselves. But because they have been equipped, people have invested in them, they have changed their status, and you can see they are performing better than us. Somebody without a hands. We have so many video clips of such people whom you see they are cooking ugali using their legs, cutting onions using their legs, feeding their children using their legs, sometimes even driving using their legs again. Others trying to see how they can solve the problem. And I saw a picture of a Muslim man and a Christian man. The Muslim man is blind, and the Christian man has no legs, and he has very, very small hands. The Muslim man is blind, he cannot see. The Christian man can see, but he has no legs, he cannot walk. And so now, they saw that they can compensate each other. Me, I can walk. I have no eyes. You have eyes, but you cannot walk. And so, when this Muslim man wants to go to a place, now he carries the Christian man who have no legs. Just puts him on his shoulders because he's just a small, tiny Christian man. And you can see him now. When he's walking, he doesn't even need a walking stick. Because now the Christian man is the eye to the Muslim blind person. Where he needs, there are stairs. He tells now, there are stairs. There there's a descent. There is a corner. Can you turn left? Can you turn right? Can you move straight forward? And they are friends because of that. I've seen another video clip of this lady who has no hands. She has no hands. And there's also another small man, very tiny man like this, who has hands but no legs. And now the lady said, you know, I have no hands. For you, you have hands. So you can be my hands, and I can be your legs. And so they got married. And this lady went and bought a special basket. And this man knows now he has to be carried in this basket. And now when the lady wants to pick anything which needs to be picked, now she just bends, and this man with the hands now can collect and put in a basket, collect, put in a basket, collect and then put in a basket. Then if in the supermarket, he pushes that basket because the lady cannot do that. Yeah, we don't have to have such extreme cases. But there are cases we ourselves, we can do everything. But there's somebody who cannot do, maybe cannot see, cannot walk, cannot talk. We should be there to compensate their weaknesses. Compensate their weaknesses. Yeah. We move to the next. Is to encourage the inclusion of all members in the church. Nobody should feel excluded from the church. But there is saying, unfortunately, this goal has not been fully met by many individuals, yes, for many individuals with disabilities. It has not been met. The church is not meeting it. Even we leaders, it's a very big challenge to be chosen as APM leader in your church, because you have been chosen to meet this goal on behalf of the church. So we are there to educate the church about the ways that people with special needs can contribute to the mission of the church. They are also important. They can preach, they can share, they can do acts of compassion. They can even pray for others, those who need prayers. These people can pray for them, and they can do quite a lot. And so that's a part of our mission, and that's why the church has started to organize worldwide special needs ministries awareness Sabbath, which always comes in April. The date I may not remember today, but every April there is a worldwide and very special and very possibility ministry awareness Sabbath. When we go to the rallies, we put them alone. We say those who cannot see, your group is here. Those who cannot talk, your group is there. Those who cannot walk, your group is there. And those with these other special needs, we put them into those groups, and we tell them, can you discuss the challenges which you are facing? And one of the common challenges we are getting is the church now does not recognize us, even when we are given our Adventist Possibility Day. Now, this is now the day which other people who have not done much in their departments, they say, now, can you give me now this day for special needs? And you find it so squeezed that they do not do what they feel should be done for them. We are given sermons, they are never preached. Children's stories, they are never given. And the time to give testimonies in the afternoon is never done, because they may be given only 15 minutes out of that day. Instead of giving them from morning, they lead Sabbath school, they preach during the divine service, they collect the offerings, and in the afternoon, we give them to give testimonies on what they go through. We squeeze that day so much, and that's a complaint which they are having, that we don't recognize even their day. We squeeze it so much that they don't have time to do what they are supposed to do. This can be at camp meetings, leadership training events like this one. I've told you after we finish, on Sabbath we are taking them to Homa Bay. And when they come, you are not going to speak to them, for them. Because even the interpreters, we tell them, don't join the deaf. Leave the deaf alone. Can you meet as interpreters that side? Because we know when the interpreters go there, now they pretend these people can do nothing for themselves. And so they become their spokesperson, even where they are meeting. We tell the interpreters, sit there, leave the deaf alone. They can discuss. Some of us, even where we have 5 of them, we feel we are the ones who should teach them the lesson, who should even do everything for them. can you appoint one of them to be a Sabbath school lesson teacher? And instead of teaching and somebody interpreting, let them speak directly in their sign language, in their language. The language they can understand. Especially those. The others, the blind, you put them in the other hearing people, there is no problem because they can hear. But special needs, that's the deaf. The deaf need to use their language. We are looking forward to a time when we are going to organize the first Seventh-day Adventist church which uses only sign language. And you go there at your own risk because there is nobody who is going to interpret for you. If you go there, you have to know that language. And interpreters, if they sympathize with you, they can tell you, yeah, sit in that corner the way we do. Sit in that corner, and then you can get an interpreter because that is their church. We are looking forward to that. I don't know where we are going to start. We tried in Nairobi. Somebody is saying we are going to start here. And I understand you built so many rooms. It's as if you knew you needed a classes for special needs, especially the deaf. Who teaches the deaf? Where do the deaf go for their lessons? And who is their teacher? Another deaf. Or a hearing person. Yes, I know Kuya School because you have a pastor there. Who teaches? Here they teach themselves. And interprets for them and teaches them. Yeah, but why should you need an interpreter when they can teach? Now, when you are dividing lessons, I know you have Toluo class, English speaking class, and other languages also, and the Kiswahili. Why do you feel, if you allow the Luos to teach themselves in their language? And why do you have that seat there? Only for today? Or for someone? Or other services? It's not for lesson. Congratulations. That's great. That's empowering them. And some of them will become pastors. Paul Odera, you see him here, he preaches, Elder Mutai, Elder Minor, because they were given those opportunities to teach others the lesson. And we want them to reach out. Because if we are going to visit them when they are sick, we cannot, even pastors, you cannot speak to them. But if you put them in groups, their Sabbath school class, one of them misses, it's easy for them to go and say, our friend who is deaf like us has not come. Can we go and find out? Then they speak their language. Where they are able. We know there are others who cannot even teach. Don't force that. If they cannot teach, train them, but in the long run, they may be able to. Yes? Leadership training events or any gathering where the following goals should be emphasized, and the goals are given there. Camp meetings, I've spoken a bit about them. I'm going to show you a few pictures where we have those camp meetings. Number 7 is speaking about the major special needs groups. That's the, what number according to your paper? Special needs categories, that's your number 6. That's your number 6, special needs categories. There they are just listed. But we are told this is done through these areas of emphasis. Underline those areas of emphasis. Number 1 is creating awareness among our church members. Creating awareness among our church members. Creating awareness even among the people with special needs. That's the starting point. If you bring them to church without creating awareness, the church may not be ready for them. And you are going to end up having people with special needs who are discouraged because the church was not prepared. And they continue with the language they use, the names they call them. Sometimes when they see that they are coming to sit near them, you find that people leave that seat or that bench and they go sit here somewhere else because they don't want to sit with these people with special needs. We start with awareness, lead the church to accept them, and then the church will start doing something. Create awareness, let the church accept, and let the church lead the church to action. Action is doing something about it. It's one thing to know there are so many deaf people around, blind people around, people cannot walk around. It's one thing to know. But it's another thing to see what we can do about them. I'm just moving from that list. That list has 10 categories. 10 categories. Previously, we used to deal with the 7. But because of the quotation of Ellen G. White, which includes the orphans and the widows, now those who are included as number 8 and number 9. Then there is another category which we call the caregivers. Those who are taking care of them were also added, and that's why this list has 10 of them. Yeah, we are going up to letter G, Eden. But now we added orphans and vulnerable children, bereavement for special laws ministry, and caregivers. Those are the additional ones. Deafness, I think you have those notes there. And hearing impairment. A hearing disability affects a person's ability to hear sounds, and in some instances, the ability to discriminate speech. Hearing disability may range from mild to profound hearing loss. There are those who cannot hear very well. You try to speak, they sad you, they tell you, volume, can you speak up? We are not hearing. And there are those who cannot totally hear. Now with aging, anything can even happen to us. With aging, as we age, sometimes, even if we are normal, but we start losing the ability to hear. In the long run, people may be speaking around you, and you cannot hear what they are saying. And so we end up in that. And we don't know in which category we are going to end, how we are going to end before we die. We start very well, discriminate some of these people, and in the long run, we end up being like them. Not being able to see, not being able to walk. Even accidents can lead us to not being able to walk, even accidents. I remember there's a church elder in Tanzania somewhere, and he was a chairman of the building committee of his church. Chairman of building committee of his church. And he built a very big church like this one, with 3 levels, the way yours is. First level, like this one, parking. Second level, that's where the church was meeting. And third level, offices and other things. Now the second level was higher, and you needed stairs to go to the worship place. Not like yours. Yours you have done very well, because you can walk in directly there, even on a wheelchair. But that one, you had to climb up and go to the place of worship. This man was involved in an accident after the church was completed. He went to the hospital. His life was changed, but he could not walk anymore at all. And he was to be like that for the rest of his life. And then he was discharged. He went home. He was given a wheelchair, and he was moving around. Then he thought of going to church. He thought of going to church. And I remembered the way he, being the chairperson of the building committee, planned that church to be built with stairs leading to the worship place. And he called the elders and told them, now, my elders, there's a mistake we did. When we were planning about the church construction, we did a mistake. Because now the way I am, I cannot come to church and enjoy church service because of the stairs which we put there. The other elders were wise enough, and they clicked what this elder meant, even though it ought to have been done when he was chairing the building committee which was designing that church. It was very expensive, but they decided to put a ramp, stretching a very long distance, going up and up and up to another door, where now somebody like him on a wheelchair could now enjoy his worship service. We don't have to wait for that. We'll talk about it just a few minutes coming, talk about it, but we need to be very, very sensitive. What we are today, we should also figure out how we might be in the future, because how some people are today is what we might be in the future. And so let's plan our lives, the church life, with some of those changes which happen in mind. Blindness and visual impairment. A visual disability affects a person's ability to see. Visual disabilities range from limited vision. Yeah, there are those who can see very far, others not far. Others can see things which are far. The ones which are near, they cannot see. And others can see things which are near, they cannot see things which are far. So corrections can be done. So this ranges also. We are also told glaucoma, which is a disease that damages eyes optic nerve, and there are cataracts, then total blindness as seen there. Some of these conditions can be corrected. If discovered in time, they can be corrected. Cataracts can be removed. My father, I went there, he could not recognize me until I talk. I realized he's having a problem. Went to the hospital, found that he had cataracts. He was totally blind. He was to be fed, he had to be taken to the toilet, he had to be washed. Then the cataracts were removed. After they were removed, he started seeing as a normal person, and he had no problem from that time. We need to take note of that. Mobility and physical disability. A mobility disability limits an individual's capacity for performance of the activities of daily living. The individuals may need assistance in moving on from one place by using a wheelchair, walker, or a cane. They are those who have to be supported. I remember in Nakuru when we went there, two sisters. Their brother grew up just like a normal person. Somebody sold him something. There are people who sell things on the streets, and then he bought. Yet, after eating, reaching home, things changed. He started dying. In the process of treatment, he lost all his senses of walking, touching things, and doing what and what. And these sisters now said, our brother, things have changed for him. What can we do? And we saw two ladies carrying a man to the meeting. And we were wondering, is this the wife and the daughter? Or who are they? Then when we came to time of caregivers, now they told us, now this is our brother, the youngest in the family. But we said he will never miss church service because he himself cannot even sit on a wheelchair. Because the back, the legs, everything is stiff, very dry. He has to be just moved slowly. You cannot place him on a wheelchair. He cannot hold crutches. He cannot use walkers. He cannot do anything. But the sister says, this is our brother. Church service, you'll never miss. And they don't care. They themselves carrying a brother who is taller than them. But they have to support him. He's one of the sisters there, the other sister here, and they hold him and then move him and they move him. They try to get a boda. I don't know how he sits on the boda. They take him to the church, gets a good seat for him, takes him to the toilet. They washed him when he was a small boy. Even now they say, we have to take care of our brother. There are organizations which supply wheelchairs. We need to connect with them, see if we can get wheelchairs. You don't have to tell people, come to my church, then you'll get a wheelchair. Give them out there, and then later on invite them to church. they'll be happy. And when they come, they say, yeah, this is not the end. When Jesus comes, you are going to move out of that wheelchair. They need a walker. I saw somebody using a walker there. Something which you just push, then you hold, then you walk and walk, reach there, then you push it again, walk and walk, reach there. We need to provide those. Others need clashes. Others need just canes to use in order for them to come to church. Okay, this is speech and communication disorder. So many characters of them, like language and voice disorders, articulation or errors, fluency, or stuttering. These are just one statement. But go to this book, you find over 10 pages. Like speech and communication disorder in the book. Speech and communication disorder. That one starts from, this one is written page 66 to 78. 66 to 78. And those are more than 10 pages. 10 pages. Here is from 77 to 89. The pages have changed because we have not adjusted in the notes. I've told you the book, we keep on doing adjustments. But if you just check communication disorder, you go to page 77 to page 89. That's where that one is found, and you can get it there. Emotional and psychiatric disability. These are disability which is a mental disorder that may affect daily living and may include, but not limited to, schizophrenia. That's a brain disease that may include delusions. Unaona mtu anaona watu, simba anamfukuza, paka wanamfukuza, anapiga nduru, anaanza kukimbia, anasema ninapigwa, ninachapwa, lakini anaona watu. Those are mental disorders ambao ni part of psychiatric disability. They lose their personality. Hata wakiwa uchi, mtu anaweza kutoa nguo zote akatembea bila nguo. Unajaribu kuvundika au ni haja ya kufaa because of that. Confusion, agitation, social withdrawal, psychosis, and some bizarre behavior. Unaona mtu ana behave vingine. Bipolar disorder, I think bipolar comes from the two poles, north pole and south pole. Na hapa tunaambiwa brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood. Saa mtu amefurahi, next minute amekasirika, anaanza kupiga watu. Kuna watu ambao unaona saa yuko hivi, amemove, amebadilika, amekuwa kitu kingine. From page 80, the pages I say they may be different, but those are 11 pages speaking about that. Na ukiwa na watoto ambao wana shida hii in Sabbath school, utaona how Sabbath school teachers are supposed to handle children with these challenges. It's written here in Sabbath school, that's how you should handle and teach. In Pathfinder, this is the way you should handle. Because this is a book written by church members, and they apply what they are writing to the church departments which we have. And more so, Sabbath school, how we should do that. Yes. An ability to carry out daily activities. There are panic disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, and phobias. Phobias are fears. You are afraid. You cannot climb heights. When you see water, you start even vomiting before you enter into that water. Others say the best water for them is the water in a basin. Anything more than that, wamekwisha. Cognitive and intellectual disability. This is now, we have said there are children, you try to teach them, they cannot learn anything. These are disability which affects a person's ability to comprehend what is seen or heard, and then infer information from social acceptance and the body language. Goes down there to say, cognitive disabilities may include, but are not limited to, autism. There are so many autistic children, many of them, even adults who are autistic. They cannot be controlled. And some of them, one of the ladies in Nakuru was giving a testimony that now, Pastor, can you tell me where to go? Because I take my child to the VBS teachers, And they say, mtoto wako ni mtoto sumbua. Hatuwezi kumenroll, hata ukilipa pesa. We don't want that mtoto sumbua. Hii ni VBS. Sabbath school wanakataliwa. VBS wanakataliwa. Pathfinder hawaruhusiwi. Sasa nipeleke mtoto wangu wapi? That's why we said we have to train ourselves, train our church members, train our church leaders, those who are leading different departments, how they can work with people with these challenges. Learning disabilities, Down syndrome, attention deficit hypersensitivity disorder, and traumatic brain injuries. Traumatic brain injuries. From page 93 to 106. So many pages speaking about that disorder. Hidden disabilities, we are told these are physical conditions that looking past a person you may not see whether he has anything wrong. But inside, you find there is something which is not taking place as required. And so we are told, this term encompasses many conditions, including but not limited to arthritis. Somebody can have that challenge of arthritis, joints, painful, to an extent that they cannot perform even church duties. They cannot even come to church because of that arthritis, because it has affected them. We need to plan out to minister to that person who has been so much affected because of their arthritis, epilepsy. We rarely see epileptic people in church. But that does not mean they are not there in the community, and does not mean our children are not epileptic. But because they fall, and you see a lot of foam coming from their mouth, and children are scared. You bring that child who is epileptic to the church, falls once or twice, and the deacons will come to you because the parents of the children have approached them and told them, so and so child, when he or she falls in church, our children get scared. And so please, we are requesting you, don't bring your epileptic child to church. So that means the mother or the caregiver will also not come to church because they have to stay home with that epileptic person. If he is left alone, then he falls in fire or in water and they die. But if they fall, where should they fall? At home, in water, fire, or in the church? Let them come to church. Let them fall even in the church. Let them fall even in the church. Yeah. Let us prepare our deacons. And that's why we said we need to invite even the deacons to these meetings. Are there any deacons here? Or you have come. That's the message for you. And you check in the church manual for 20, which is now coming out. The new church manual. It has added taking care of people with special needs as part of the deacons' responsibilities. Na kwa hivyo sio mambo ya kufagia kanisa na kukusanya sadaka. Inasemekana that's a part of your responsibility. Ikiwa kuna watu ambao ni epileptic, wana kifafa, they come to church, wanakojua ndani ya kanisa. Nani atafagia? Sio mzee wa kanisa. Nani atafanya hiyo kazi? Ni nini? Ikiwa kuna mtu ana wheelchair, you are the one who is supposed to know where these people are going to sit. There are some chairs on which these people cannot sit. You are the one to know so and so akija, kuna kiti special yake, kuna mahali pa kuweza kukaa. You see some people with those physical challenges and the church is overcrowded and the other people are sitting and you expect this person who is shaking and arthritic, you see that person walking like this and you expect him to stand also as long as the other people are standing. Those are special cases. And that's why we said deacons need to be here and be trained, that they have a responsibility of taking care. That's a part of their job description now. Taking care of people with special needs when they come. And they should identify them, see where they are, and make plans on how they are going to worship God comfortably. High blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, sickle cell condition, chronic fatigue syndrome, cystic fibrosis, and the conditions related to obesity. Somebody can just be so obese, so heavy, so big. that their even worship service is interfered with. H is a new one, orphans and vulnerable children. We'll not talk a lot about it, but we know Jesus cared quite a lot about orphans and vulnerable children. We know so many children were abused sexually and physically, even by people who are very, very close to them. Their uncles, their brothers, sometimes even their fathers. And you get surprised. A child of 3 years, 4 years, and you see somebody sexually abusing that child. And not only ladies, not only girls, you find even boys are being abused, sometimes by people you cannot even expect. And if you know in that family there is a child who is abused, every time and they are threatened, if you speak, then we are going to kill you. Threats. And you know. Or sometimes, if they trust you, they may tell you what you do after you know that. Because we say, you are the spokesperson for these people who cannot speak for themselves. Jesus elevated the value of children in the minds of his listeners when he said to his disciples, let the little children do what? Come to me and do not hinder them. For the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as this. You remember the disciples tried to chase them away. And Jesus came to know about it. He could have kept quiet. Otherwise he would have done the other way. Tunafukuza watoto nyumbani. Mnatupigia kelele. Yesu alikuwa anapenda hizo kelele za watoto. Wanapozungumza, lakini alikuwa anajua the way he could control them. Sio kupika kelele to the way they want. He knew how to control them. And Event Possibility Ministries embraces this divine mandate of focusing attention and resources to help meet the unique needs of orphans and vulnerable children. James 1:27 says, pure and undivided religion before God and the Father is this, to visit orphans and the widows in their trouble. This is pure religion now. If we say we have the true religion of the Bible, this is the true religion of the Bible. Any other religion is not a religion. Any other evangelism, which does not care or take care of special people with special needs, we can say that's not an evangelism. God the Father to the fatherless. APM seeks to return orphans to their heavenly Father's family. There are many people, many of them who cannot go home because they know home is not they cannot go. But if they know there is a father's family where they are loved, regardless of whatever, then they'll come. We are told church members should demonstrate their love for God through loving service and support of these children. And this includes accepting them into the church family, which may be the only loving family they will ever know. The church should accept them, and we are told this may be the only family, loving family they ever know. The families there where they live, there is no love, there is abuse. Then where do they go? Should we tell them that in the church it's safe for you, there is love? And invite them. Invite them to come to church because that's the family of God. This includes accepting them into the church family, which may be the only loving family they know. Make the church the only family orphans and vulnerable children know. If the other families where they live cannot invite them, they cannot fit there. Okay, can you go to the next one, Bereavement for Spousal Loss Ministry, just briefly. If you check, This one is not speaking about widows. Ellen G. White, in her quotation, Testimonies Volume 3, is speaking about widows. But the statement we have here is not widows, but bereavement for spousal loss. Bereavement for spousal loss. There are many widows. You say they are special needs persons, they will refuse. Because according to them, they are not special needs. They have just lost their husbands. Otherwise, they have everything that they need. Some of them have cars, good houses, they have animals, and you treat them as special needs persons, they feel they don't fit there. But there's a category where any person fits. This is the time of mourning the loss of their spouses. Whether you have cars and the cows and the big houses and whatever property, but at the time of loss, when you have lost, you are very closest person. At that stage, you are a special needs person and you need a special attention. And so any moment we hear somebody has lost, not only the husband or wife, but any person, I think we know, let us go, be there for them. Be there for them. And here we are told, as individuals, we are created to live in relationship with God and each other. Marriage is one of the closest and the most beautiful expressions of our relationship. When that bond is broken by death, life changes irrevocably for the surviving spouse. Changes irrevocably for the surviving spouse. Death may occur after a short or a long happy life, following an illness or suddenly without any warning. People are rarely prepared for it. You know, after a long illness, we say, that long illness prepared this lady for the death of the husband. Let me tell you, if they loved each other, even after that long illness, we can never say this person was ready for the death of the spouse. It's difficult to know how to support the bereaved spouse. And as they accommodate their loss and move forward. And so you can underline, even though I've not underlined, accommodate their loss and move forward. The main target or aim of this ministry is to help those who have lost very close people, their spouses, to accommodate their loss and work with them, reach a level where they can move forward. If they reach that level, then they are able even to minister to others, as we are going to see. Often others feel uncomfortable, and they do not know what to say or how to interact. And let's not be quick when we are visiting people who have lost their loved ones. And we are so quick when they start speaking, even before they speak. We tell them, I know. You tell a person whose husband is lying in the mortuary, and you tell them that I understand. I know, I understand. If this person was courageous enough, would just face you and tell you in the face, you left your husband at home. Mine is in the mortuary. And here you cheating me that you know what I'm feeling, you know what I'm going through. They can face you and tell you that. So don't be quick. Sometimes it's just good to go there and sit. Your presence to them means quite a lot. Even if there is nothing you are doing. Remember these friends of Job when they went to comfort him after losing everything that he had except his wife. You remember? They just went there and sat quietly. For how many days? The friends of Job, they sat not for hours, but days. How many days? 7 days without speaking even a word. 7 days without speaking a word. And some Bible commentators say it's better, it would have been better if they just went there and sat and sat and sat 7 days, even for a month, and never spoke a word. There are cases where it's good just to go and sit. And even sing. Sometimes even the singing may not be relevant, but sing. But just uttering some statements may be injuring that family or that person more than silence. Those guys sat for 7 days. And after 7 days, they started to speak. And people say it's better if they never spoke. Because if you check what they spoke, blaming Job for nothing, telling him this is not for nothing. You know, in my community, we say our people don't die for nothing. If they die, there is something. There is something. Something has been done to them. And we start advising them where to go. And we take them in our cars, sometimes at night, so that they can go and visit some people to know the cause of the death in the family. I know. That's what we say. Just go there. Your presence means quite a lot. Creating awareness of the challenges facing those experiencing. That bullet is not supposed to be there. Experiencing spousal loss will produce an environment where they feel nurtured, accepted, and appreciated. Underline those words. Nurtured, accepted, and appreciated. And we should work with them through to reach that level. Acceptance will lead to affirming actions and a safe environment for their bereaved spouse. This will assist in reestablishing them as gifted, needed, and treasured as members of the church family. There are men after loss, in case we don't treat them well, they end up leaving the church. I know my sister-in-law, the other way she was treated, when she lost her child, she ended up in quitting the church and going to a Pentecostal church where she felt people came and treated her well, prayed for her and were there for her and all that, treated her better than our Seventh-day Adventist church. In this way, they will be able to minister to others who have lost their spouses as a part of their mission. You know, if you see that among the people who are there comforting you is Mama so and so, who also lost a husband like me, and she's advising me or talking to me on how she made it, how she managed after the loss. That one is speaking out of the experience, how she made it. And this one can gain the same experience and then also start being instrumental in comforting others who have also lost their spouses. Many churches, there are organizations or groups of people who have lost their spouses. In my home church, there's a very strong group, and they visit each other every month. You see them visiting one another, encouraging one another on a monthly basis, and they support them. I don't know whether we have some churches with such groups of people who have lost their spouses, and they can meet. And when they hear somebody else has lost a spouse, you find they go there. And then the spouse says, hey, they have lost like me. And now sometimes even they say, I understand, even though it depends on the relationship. But they say, oh, yeah, you have gone through the same experience. The last one over there is caregiver ministry. This is a very new one. We never thought of doing something for people who have lost who are taking care of somebody, saying a caregiver is a family member or a paid helper who takes care of a child or a sick, elderly, or disabled person. I think we fit quite a lot in this because I know some of us are taking care of our parents because they are too old to feed themselves, to wash themselves, and do things for themselves. They are too old. So we are caregivers. Our wives are caregivers because of what's taking place. And we say today we may be okay, but we don't know how we are going to end. We may end up in being in that condition, always in bed. We need somebody to turn us around, because if we sleep the whole day on one side, adding to maybe urine and such, now unaanza kuoza, vidonda start developing on one side. And so somebody has to be there to turn you around, to do what and the what and the what. Let us teach ourselves to be sympathetic. And even let the children see how we are caring for our parents. You know, some of us neglect them. Wanaozea nyumbani, si tunaishi huku town. Hata hatuwezi kutafuta mtu wa kuweza kuwatunza. Our children are seeing what we are doing. Our children are also seeing the way we are treating our parents. Now if we are not treating them with the sympathy they need, or even our uncles and our aunts. Watasema, si aliachilia baba yake, aliachilia shushu, aliachilia ngo yetu, na sasa watakuachilia tu. But if they see what you are doing, some of them will be moved. And in the long run, they may be more sympathetic in taking care of you when you may not be able to take care of yourself. Yeah, we are told the church needs to recognize the needs and challenges of caregivers by developing and implementing processes that support this ministry. When I was looking around, I did not see any person in these extreme conditions in our meeting today. In many other places, you see now these children have to be fed, we have to be on diapers, pampers, almost all the time. And some of the people come with them, and we give them time. We give them time to explain to us what they undergo when they are taking care of this 15-year-old daughter who cannot do anything for themselves. And sometimes their periods come, and because they have to undergo that, and somebody else has to be taking care of those periods and such. Wanaikojolea, alafu analetwa church, harufu, alafu anaanza kushika pua. Na kusema, msilete huyo tena hapa kwa church. Manake anafukuza washiriki and such. We are told there are challenges for caregivers by developing and implementing processes that support this ministry. Lastly, what the church can do. Tumeongea 10 categories. We have not said what we can do about those categories. Number 1, accessibility. This is to ensure that the church is accessible by all the people, regardless of their physical or mental condition. And the second bullet is saying, every architectural and attitudinal barrier should be eliminated. Start with the attitude of the church members. How do they see somebody who is on a wheelchair? Somebody who has these mental challenges. How do they see them? Somebody who has epilepsy. How do they see them? Here we are told we have to work, first of all, with our church members and remove their attitude. Attitudinal barriers should be overcome, then architectural barriers. I like this church. Even coming to the garage here, you can easily come here on a wheelchair, move up in the church on the wheelchair. I don't know the offices whether you can, on a wheelchair, you can go there. And when we put these people together in their groups, the ones on the wheelchair, said now, we were near Nakuru and the office is there, and the president's office is on top. And they say, now, you see me, there were 4 of them. We are on a wheelchair, and we want to go and see our president up there. We want to go and see our president, even see the office. But Pastor, how do we go there? And they made that delegation and said, now we want to go and see our president in his office, because they knew they cannot make it there. And they asked, Pastor, should we go now? I knew they cannot make it. Then I told him, if you want to see him, just let's call him to come down. And he said, why did you build that office without considering us? Why should he come down? We need to see him in his office. And we don't want to be carried there. And many of them are very huge. Very big, very big. So we have to ensure. Let me read that second statement. Church facilities from the entrances to the entire church structure of the building and toilets should be accessible by all, including ramps for people with wheelchairs. Should be accessible by all. Before you bring them on their wheelchairs, try to imagine when they want to go to the toilet, where will they go? Here when they come on their wheelchairs, Mommy, where do they go to the toilet? Is there a toilet for them, people on wheelchair? Where? Is there, but it's up. Then you are adding up. Huh? You have alarms, because I try to check there in case they come, where they will go to the toilet. I try to check for them, for people on wheelchairs. Oh yeah, I was looking for them. We went to Masai area on last week on Tuesday, and we had some of them. They did not have wheelchairs, but they were being carried. They were brought to the meeting being carried, like that guy was brought to Jesus and they had to remove the roof. And then you were wondering, now these people, where will they go to the toilet? And the Maasai surprised me because they got a plastic chair like that one. Can you bring this one? They got a plastic chair like that one and they cut it. The Maasai, a chair like this one, plastic, and they cut it here. They just cut it here. And then when I went to the toilet, I found a chair inside. Then I was wondering now, why should this chair, it is cut, why should it be there? And I went and asked the church pastor, why did you put that chair in the toilet and it's cut? I said, Pastor, these are the Maasais. These are the Maasais. They are the ones who cut it. What is it for? He told me they knew that they are bringing people who cannot normally do what they do in the church compound here. And so they have to use the toilet. And so, like a potty. You also see these potties for children? Yes. So you just sit there. You finish your business. And this hole which is cut here, they wanalinganisha na ile shimo ya choo hapo ndani. So wewe unapofanya kazi yako hapa, hakuna kusumbua watu. Naenda tu direct huko chini. Hao ni nani? Ni wa Masai. Na hiyo kanisa yao ina kitu ya namna hiyo. Before they went and they started bringing those people, walihakikisha that seat is there. They did that, and I saw that was very innovative. And you know that could be a lesson also to some of us. Because we bring them, there's nowhere they can go. But if you do like that, things will work. Things will work. So, any church with stairs, where there is no ramp, go and work on those stairs, create a ramp where somebody on a wheelchair can go to church to worship. Number 2 is education. This one we have shared already. Training people who do not have special needs and those with special needs to work together in building God's kingdom. The next one is encouragement. This goal is to promote participation of people with special needs in all aspects of church life, providing a safe, loving environment at all levels of the church for all people, which is a privilege of every Christian. Then accommodation. The church should be inclusive in principle and practice. Principle, speech. We speak quite a lot, but are we practicing what we say? We need to provide interpretation for the deaf. This one, I like it very much. And all the interpretation, we appreciate you. We know we do not pay you. What are you paid for this work you do? are not paid at all. Nothing is given to them. But they are doing a good work. Throwing these hands like this. If you throw like them for 1 hour, 2 hours, and you are throwing, and sometimes they are alone, doing it, Sabbath school, divine service in the afternoon. This is not easy. But they are there because they know they are serving whom? Without them, we cannot communicate to these people. Cannot communicate to them at all in any way. So ensure that there is interpretation if you have some deaf. Some of you said you have some deaf. How many of you said they have some deaf? Can you raise your hands again? You did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your church. How many interpreters do you have? Pastor, you see those hands have sunk down. They said they have deaf, but when they come, how do they get the message? Because there are no what? Interpreters. Interpreters. You are lucky this church, you have so many interpreters. Instead of having 20 of them here, can you make that as a part of your mission? These people have raised their hands. If they don't live far from here, you can start offering services and go and train. Go and train out there because they know that deaf are there. Church members, children are deaf and they are there, but they come to church, they don't benefit. Mami munasikia. Isiwe ni kushindana kuinterpret hapa church to make here our mission. Oh, you are from Rongo. And I don't know, Rongo mmeanza kuinterpret mapema sana. Lakini in the areas, the churches around Rongo, there are some with deaf people, and they may need also interpretation. Make it a mission. You have to go and teach them. And you see many of them will be, those who are around Rongo, if you are here and you are around Rongo, yes, you have no interpretation in your church. Which church? Huh? Kanga. You know, I know where Kanga is because we used to have some sessions there. And the Kanga and the Rongo is not very far. So Meskia. Kanga Central Church, that lady, they have deaf. Oh, she had told you. And had you done something about it? Very good. You have heard. You have heard. She's ready to be a missionary in Kanga Central Church, and we are telling her not to spend 1 year there. When she comes, she teaches you and your other people. You remember that lady from Kilifi who volunteered to come to Mombasa for 1 year, and within that year she trained 15 of them. And then she comfortably went back. These will be missionaries moving out to those churches. And if you know you live around Rongo and you have churches with the special needs, no interpretation, you have your ambassadors here around Migori. Those who come from around Migori, you have deaf, no interpretation. You are two from Rongo. Migori, Mami, which church? New? How far is it from here? New Life Core? About how many kilometers? 5 only. 8 is not far. Hata ikiwa ni boda si unapanda tu unafika. Alafu unaenda unawatrain on Sundays. On Sabbath you are there. Tafuta hawa unaona wako hapa wa hapa wafanye kuwa. Si unaona imeandikwa hapo providing interpretation providing interpretation for the deaf, braille or recorded information for the blind, wheelchairs for those who cannot walk. You see those things are listed there. Let us go and implement them. Braille for the blind, General Conference has a department called Christian Records. Their work is to provide lessons every quarter in Braille and ship those lessons to the blind throughout the world. What we need is only the names through Pastor Zaria. And they will be receiving those lessons. There are recorded materials for the blind who can hear. APM should sensitize and educate the church to the needs of people with special needs, develop resources for those who are supporting them, caregivers, and enhance their worship experience. These ones we are not going to read. You have them. They were composed or formulated by blind people, deaf people, people in wheelchairs, people who could not talk. We brought them together with our leaders from unions and the fields. And we came up with those A, B, C, D, F, E, up to P. I don't know P is number what. Is it number 16 or 17? Close to 20, but there are many. We told you are going to break out groups, but before you go, as you know, we started late. We just in the pictures how this work has expanded. The person you see there is called Henry Minor. He's the one who started all this in Mombasa. He became deaf when he was 15. When looking for churches with interpretation, could not get until he went to the pastor and ensured something is done for them in Mombasa. We brought him to Nairobi Central Church. Then he trained other people, went to Eldoret and other places. And because of that, a movement was born. He's doing interpretation there. These are statements by the General Conference showing what the contribution of Kenya to Adventist Possibility Ministry throughout the world. Contribution. There's a major contribution which Kenya has done for this ministry throughout the world. This is another one. When we had another meeting in Burundi, the General Conference President Teddy Wilson stating our contribution in special needs throughout the world. 2015, dates are given there. ECD had what we call Mission Extravaganza in Tanzania. By this time, the ministry in Kenya had picked up, and we, the deaf, decided to go to Tanzania also and sing and participate in that meeting. The General Conference President noticed a group with the T-shirts written deaf and walking with a banner written deaf, deaf, deaf. And he was attracted. He recognized them and told them, now before I go, I want to meet those deaf people. And here is a meeting between Teddy Wilson and a group of 27. Some of these are teachers, others are working in institutions, different institutions. The ones who can hear is only me, Teddy Wilson, and the Pastor Blesius Ruguri. The rest are deaf, and my wife. And my wife, the rest are deaf. The rest are deaf out of that group. The camp meeting, the first one in Karura, this is the one I spoke about, over 226. I said 246, should be 226. And the 43 of them were baptized. 119 graduated in VOP. They were given certificates. That's their baptism in Karura. They are taking vows before baptism there. That's during the baptism. And this is them from everywhere. They came. From everywhere in Kenya, they came. We took them around Nairobi, took them to the National Park, took them to the Thika Highway. That was their greatest road. And they were very happy, and they never left. They have never left the church. We were where was it? Where were we when 3 of them told me, yes, I can see myself in that picture, 2014. Is it that was in Kisii. 3 of them looked at themselves and they say, I can see myself there. And they were not Adventists when they came, but they became full-time Adventists at this time. Now this is Kisumu. Kisumu over 800. They came, and we say this was the largest meeting for special needs ever held throughout the world. That record has never been broken. You can see the large group, 6 interpreters, 2 in front here, 2 in the middle there, and 2 at the back there doing interpretation, because one person from the front was not enough. They needed several people so that they could be seen. I'm seeing this church as having such a large gathering again. And we'll need about one interpreter here, another interpreter there, another interpreter there, 3 here, 3 in the middle, 3 at the back. Is that a bad vision? That's a good one. Yes, I know you can make it. That's possible. That is that's the Kisumu girls, 98 baptized in Kenya, 2016. That's just a short video clip on what took place in Kisumu. Seems it does not want to play. We had demonstration, a march in Kisumu City, and police people were there. We did not need drums because now those people are deaf and they did not need to use them. Can see that large number, and it's happening. It has happened, and you can see that's Larry Evans giving certificates to people who graduated in VOP. Those are the VOP lessons, interpretation taking place. Larry Evans from the General Conference. Interpretation every corner. This is John Black. He has supported us quite a lot. Kisumu girls, they are singing and signing. That was a language. There was no interpretation. Even me, I was disabled that time because I could not understand. Could not understand what they were saying. Now you see this young man who has just walked in, Cerebral Palsy. And they brought 10 deaf people from Mombasa to Kisumu. And they paid for themselves. Because you told them, as you go to Kisumu, please come with your friends. Cerebral Palsy, this guy brought 10 of them, and all of them were baptized. Some of them are like Indians. Can you see there? Yeah. You can see how happy they were. Very, very happy moments. And we wish every church was like this. They are preparing now for baptism. That's the Larry Evans. That's the Richard Mutai, deaf, but preaching. Friend of Paul Odera. Preaching there. Okay, now we are having some media conference where we are explaining the impact that this has had throughout Kenya and also throughout the world. The world church is quite happy and highly appreciative what's taking place. You can see those girls singing there, happy. They have never been given an opportunity to sing. Some of them no opportunity to be baptized. That's a choir for the deaf from Sunshine Church in Eldoret. They have very good uniform, very smart. Okay, they are marking their lessons there. Now this is Nakuru, 2018, 700. Some from Ghana, South Africa, others from South Africa, Botswana. I told you where they came from. The lady who is interpreting here comes from around here, and she's an international interpreter. I think now she's working with the KBC. She's called Lenza Odiwuor. You can see 2 in front. You can see others in the middle there interpreting, and others at the back. The meeting was so big. This lady in front here is from South Africa. And she's there. She said she has never seen what she's seeing there. That's the choir from Eldoret in their uniform. Very happy group. This is TMI for the deaf in Mombasa, Baburi. The same. These girls are not Adventists, but because there is interpretation in the church, they came and they were baptized. That's the baptism there. Now this one is the church members trying to see how they can empower the people with special needs in Baburi. And they started a car wash for special needs persons. And you can see how many cars they wash every day in Baburi there. This is now income generating activity which the church started. Just washing cars. Try to think what you can do for such people. Now these 3 guys are pastors who are deaf. They went to Baraton. The time you hear these guys said we forced them to go to school, they almost fought us. These guys, they almost fought us because we told them, if you don't go to Baraton, you are going to lose your jobs. Even if you have not finished Form 4, we are giving you 1 year to go and do what? This exam for my mature people. Adult education. Exam Form 4. Then you go to Baraton. They almost fought us, but now when I hear them, we hear them saying that now they are happy because I'm their father. Yeah, that's a good fatherhood. By forcing them to go, to go to school, they did not see the need. Among them were these 3 guys. They are deaf. The one, I don't know which side there, but to my left is that Henry Minor. The one in the middle is Albert. Is it Omondi? From southern Kenya Lake now. He's now the one lead. Is he the assistant? He's one of the leaders in there. He comes from Kenya Lake. Yeah, you saw me in Oyugis. And the other one is here among us, Paul Odera. He has a degree, and that's why he's now the chaplain. The chaplain in Kuja School for the Deaf, over 500 students. This is we try to organize this one. All these are deaf. Organizing them into a church, but it has not picked up up to this time. Nairobi Central Church. This interpretation, training. This is Mwata School and Veni School for the Deaf, near Kamagambo. Near Kamagambo, as you go to Sunika. This is a school. It has now around 60 deaf children. This quarter, the 13th Sabbath offering is going to benefit this school now. Mwata and Veni School for the Deaf, just near here. 13th Sabbath offering is going to them. Those are the children there. This is another school for the deaf, which has started in Machakos. Now it has about 45 deaf children. There they are worshiping in church on Sabbath. They have never done it before because they come from Sunday keeping churches. This one is Uganda. Uganda, it has spread now to Uganda. Uganda, you can see the deaf being baptized. These are meeting held in 2017 for special needs in Uganda. You can see them there. This is a baptism in Uganda. Baptism in Uganda for the deaf. And they were happy because they have never been given that chance to be baptized. This is Burundi. Burundi, 2017. They are now taking their vows to be baptized. And these are 25, the first group to be baptized. And they were the happiest. After baptism, they are singing now in their sign language, praising God. This is the choir now in Burundi. This lady in the middle with a white handbag. When she saw they were singing without uniform, she said, the other choirs have uniform. And so she took them to the shop, fitted this uniform for them, and she fitted one for them, for herself also. She looks like them, and they are very happy. That's Burundi. This is Burundi 42, being baptized now in Lake Tanganyika. Yeah, and you can see it's like angels. They are coming out from the water. Some of them have grown big and nobody to baptize them. This is Rwanda. This one is Rwanda. Rwanda. One of these people singing there is a pastor's son. Because there was no interpretation, he went to a Sunday keeping church. When the ministry was started now in the Adventist church, I could see the father shedding tears. He had waited for that time when the son would come back to church, and he was very, very happy. This is the Rwanda. That's Rwanda. That's Rwanda. 2017, we had one of the largest again in Rwanda, near the border with the Congo. 90 were baptized, 53 were deaf. And you can see the baptism. Pastors have not been trained how to baptize people who cannot walk. And you can see this one is being baptized on a plastic seat, the deacons, and they should be prepared to take these people into the watery grave for baptism. And one way is just to take a plastic seat, carry that person who cannot do anything for themselves on the plastic seat, and take to the pastor. He will pray and dip that person, and then come refreshed and fulfill. Yeah, if you believe and you are baptized, then you are going to be saved. That's a great choir in 2018 in Rwanda. They gave so many wheelchairs there. And yeah, that's a baptism. You can see these two guys, they cannot walk. In Nakuru, one of the fathers was lamenting, Pastor, my son is now 35 years. He has cerebral palsy, mental problem, but I have asked Pastor, they don't want to baptize him. Pastor, what can I do? I told him, now they don't want to baptize you. Tell him, tell me, I'll come. And now we'll see how you are going to be baptized. If these ones were baptized, they were the happiest. They knew that is what was remaining. And then they could have assurance that when Jesus comes, their status is going to be changed. That's Rwanda still. This is Tanzania recently. They had their camp meeting for them. So many of them came. And they had competition. Those on wheelchairs, wheelchairs, can you line up? Then can you run from here to there with your wheelchairs? They ran, they got number one. Those who had clashes, they did that. These are the deaf, they did that. The blind, they did that also. And now these are time for those with albinism. And they ran. Those with albinism, they got number one and 23. And I know they gave them some gifts also. This is Tanzania, that's Tanzania, that's Tanzania. This is Tanzania. This is November 2020. They have this occasion of giving wheelchairs. I want to come and celebrate you giving wheelchairs to these people. And you can see how happy they are. That's Tanzania. You see that Muslim lady there? She had that the Adventist church inviting the deaf, and she's deaf. In the mosque, there is no service like that. And you know, she came. And she gave herself to Jesus. She was baptized. That's Tanzania, Tanzania. This is Congo, Tanzania, Tanzania, Tanzania. That's Tanzania. This is Congo. East Congo, that's Lubumbashi. Now this one is Kinshasa. Kinshasa, you can see those guys there on wheelchairs also. They are very happy, highly appreciative. And yeah, one of the interpreters there was not an Adventist. And you can see this big man there was interpreter, paid. But when he came to church, he responded to the call, and he was baptized with those other deaf. We baptized him there. This is West Congo. West Congo. Can you see that person who cannot walk in Kinshasa, being dipped in that watery grave, being baptized? Now, this is a very special group, and I will always want to talk about this group. This is a church in Congo, Kinshasa, that's Kinshasa city, where one side of the church, they don't put chairs like these ones. They have dedicated one side, like the whole of that, and said that area is dedicated for people with wheelchairs. The people will come with their own chairs. So deacons, that side, no chairs throughout from January. And you go there, you find, hey, why have you not put chairs here? Because that is for people who come on their chairs, wheelchairs. And they have their deacon who arranges them and shows them how to sing. And they have formed a choir. This one is a choir for people on wheelchairs. I wish you could hear them sing, raising their hearts to Jesus and their hands and their voices, singing on what's going to happen when Jesus comes. And they try to stretch their legs. You find there are no legs to be stretched. But they see those legs will start jumping the way the Bible tells us. That's Kinshasa. This one is Ethiopia. And I think we are finishing there. And requesting Pastor Zaria to come and put you in groups according to your feuds and conferences. And when you go into your groups, these are the questions you are going to discuss. Don't take too long. So which field where you going to sit?
South East Nyanza field, May you stand up. Southeast. You can go at the corner there.
When they go, they should choose their chairman and secretary, and the ones, okay, these are not special needs people, but they can be coordinators, overall coordinators.
Yes.
You can also, from now, if your leaders who are here agree with you, the ones you are going to choose can be, in case you have not chosen overall coordinators for special needs in your fields, those who are here now can start coordinating until others are chosen, if the leaders from the fields agree. Choose a person who can still continue coordinating until you do another official selection or election.
Yeah, they are going to be the interim.
Yeah.
You understand that? So you can go there, southeast. Mwiri, you can lead them. Then we have southwest Nyanza field. You will be here. Then Ranen, we go the other side. Ranen conference.
30 minutes.
We are going to be there for only 30 minutes.
The questions are there. They are not in your papers, but they are.
The questions are there. You sit somewhere you can see the questions. Sit somewhere you can see the questions. This is Ranen